Hey everybody, welcome back to Video Game Mess. So, they're gonna get some weekend big decomp energy for you guys today. That is because as of about 12 hours ago, as of the recording of this audio, Harbour Masters released their PC port of Banjo Kazooie. And yes, we already have a static recomp, but at the end of the day, both of these are double-clickable executables that let you play an amazing game on your PC. But a static recomp and a decomp base source port are going to do different things. If you're wondering why this intro is dropping a few frames here, I talked to a couple other people that tested it, and it seems to just be something that happens across all installations. But short of that one moment in time, this is absolutely an outstanding PC port that has a lot of fun features added into it for its 1.0 release. And we're going to go over each and every one of them, talk about them, how they differ compared to the actual static recomp, and maybe which one you would want to play. But honestly, I absolutely love the fact this exists. Harbour Masters is always making great PC ports, and hopefully soon we'll see their Paper Mario PC port come out as well, because that's the one I'm most excited about. And I'm not sure if I'm going to show you this video on Saturday or Sunday, because there is another recomp coming out this weekend that I have a video prepared for, and I don't want to spoil it in case I haven't shown it to you yet, but trust me, it's going to be absolutely exciting. Unless I already ran that video, then you know what it is. But as far as Banjo Kazooie is concerned, it is amazing we have a new way to play it, because again, N64 nostalgia is a real thing. We have Analog 3D, we have M64, Mr. FPJ, but those are all going to be lower resolution and lower frame rate than you can get out of a PC port. And honestly, with the enhanced draw distance, I'll show you how to do that in the actual menu in just a moment, this game just looks prettier and runs better than anything N64 emulation or FPJ related. And I really do think that keeps the games alive for a bigger audience, because if you and I went back to an N64 and played the games, we might be able to get away with kind of feeling like that's how we remember them running. But if you give them to any younger generation, they're just not going to hang with the low frame rate. And just so you know, there is interpolation being used here in some of the frames. We'll get into that in the options as well, because by default it locks itself out to 30 frames per second, and you do need to adjust that. But as far as my time with the port, and of course it is still the early days, everything was running correctly. I had no issues with playing the game, no crashes, no bugs whatsoever. But of course I haven't explored 100% of what Banjo Kazooie is, because this game, like pretty much every rare platform, is absolutely collectathon. So I'm sure there might be something in there that might have a slight visual glitch here or there, but that's the fun thing about releases like this. You get to play around with them, you get to kind of see what's working, and of course Harbour Masters will definitely be updating this as time goes on. But as far as the actual base game is concerned, it is 100% completable. You can do anything you want in it, you can enhance the graphics and play around with it, and Anchor Co-op is included as well in this 1.0 version of the release. But if you go over to the Harbour Masters website under announcements, there is a full list of what is and isn't working for Anchor, so if you're looking to do that kind of co-op run, you might want to just go ahead and take a look at that page briefly to make sure it is ready for what you want it to do. Because this game, again, is all-encompassing. There's so much stuff going on. But as far as the control input latency is concerned, as far as the performance of the game, it feels like a very smooth, very fun version of Banjo Kazooie, and that's definitely something that even if we already have the static recomp, I always say on the channel, options are better, and the more ways we have to play games, the better off we are in the future. And because this is a source port, theoretically that can make it slightly easier for modding in the future, even though we already have a bunch of mods for the recomp as well, stuff like the extended draw distance, as well as texture packs. I didn't have time to test a texture pack on this one, so I'll probably follow this video up maybe later next week or in a couple of weeks once the dust actually settles and we see more of what the community is going to do with this one. And hopefully one day we get Banjo Tooie as both a PC source port as well as a recomp as well, because at least for me personally, I prefer Tooie ever so slightly more to the original Banjo. But that makes our first question. You leave me a comment down below and you tell me, Kazooie or Tooie, which one do you prefer? And even though I never expected, hopefully one day Microsoft lets Rare make another 3D platformer in the franchise that isn't nuts and bolts. I mean, don't get me wrong, that is a fun game, but I just don't think it's what anyone expected when we actually knew we were getting a new Banjo game out there. Let's do a soundtrack sample so you can hear the audio quality coming out of Lighthouse from Harbour Masters, because the game has an incredible soundtrack and fun sound effects, and we want to hear whether or not they're being replicated correctly in this port. So go ahead and listen. I'll be right back with a lot more Banjo Kazooie fun for you. Man, it definitely sounds like Banjo Kazooie to me, but you leave me a comment down below and you tell me what you think. Now, I want to go over the options menu for you here, that way you know where everything is, because honestly it's very all-encompassing. General and audio are going to be basically just standard things, I don't really need to explain much there. But you can dial the internal resolution up to 200%, you have MSA anti-aliasing, and then here you're going to be able to adjust your frame rate to decide whatever it is you want using that interpolation. I just go for 60 because that's the presentation format here, and I think it ends up working the best. Default widescreen 16:9, you can do ultra wide, you can do 4:3, you can really do anything you want, but just be aware that if you are on an ultra wide monitor like I am, you actually have to drag the window to get something like 16:9, because when you maximize it, it will go out to the full monitor resolution. You can disable the level of detail and basically keep everything loaded in its full resolution format compared to the N64, and under fixes you're going to see a lot of different things you can change. I'm not going to go over each and every one of them, just be aware that there's a ton of stuff in here, including in the gameplay. Like, you can actually skip over the entire intro cut sequence and get just into the game, because if you played this thing a bunch before, you will know that intro sequence plays out the exact same way every time. The cutscenes are unskippable and they can be ever so slightly long, and there's even going to be cheats that you can use and a full randomizer in the actual build as well. If you never played a Banjo Kazooie randomizer, I can't recommend them enough. They are a ton of fun and it should work perfectly fine here. So now kind of the question is, if you've already played something like the Banjo Kazooie Recomp, is there anything here in Harbour Masters PC port that is going to make you want to play it again? It just kind of depends on how you approach it. If you just want another 100% vanilla run of Banjo Kazooie with no co-op whatsoever and no randomizer, maybe it isn't going to be quote unquote worth another gameplay session. Now don't get me wrong, I love Harbour Masters that they did this, but of course when we get more than one option out there, if all you want to do is play the game and you already played and 100% completed Banjo Kazooie on the Recomp, then probably that would be perfectly fine. The randomizer here is amazing. That actual anchor co-op is a fun time as well. So if that's more of what you want to do, then definitely worth a replay. But as far as if you haven't played the Recomp versus the PC source port yet, I really don't recommend one over the other. Both of them are going to be absolutely amazing, and I really don't like to weigh community projects that much against each other and say, this one's the best one, this one is quote-unquote the worst one, because both of these projects are incredible. I love that the community does it for everybody, and it really is just a fun time that we have so many dedicated people making these static recomps and PC source ports for everyone to enjoy. This one also has a free camera, but do be aware that in some areas of Banjo Kazooie, the camera is going to lock itself off and you're going to lose that control, which makes perfect sense just because that's how the game is designed, going to that fixed camera angle up against walls. But if you notice that the actual free cam is not working in certain areas, that is why. And you do have to pivot up your controls as well in the control bindings, because once you have the free cam on, that takes the right analog stick, which by default, if you have it off, is going to be for the C buttons on an N64 controller. And honestly, if you have an N64 controller, definitely going to be the best way to play. One more soundtrack sample and I'll be right back with more. So again, as far as my ear is concerned, all the audio here seems to be replicated perfectly, but you tell me down below if you hear anything that you don't think should be there. And as far as ROM hacks, based upon what Harbour Masters have said, so long as the ROM hack doesn't introduce custom code into Banjo Kazooie, they should work perfectly fine here on the actual PC source port. But just be aware that sometimes that isn't 100% true. You never know what ROM hack is or isn't going to work, so just kind of test them, see what's going on. And again, this has not been out for very long, so you're going to get a lot more community ports on what's working, what's not working, working, and Harbour Masters are clearly going to iterate on this and bring even more fun features to everybody. But I love that community groups do this, and having both a static recomp as well as a PC source port of something like Banjo Kazooie makes us all winners, because options are always great to be able to pick and choose from. And if you don't really want to do anything other than a vanilla experience of Banjo Kazooie, maybe throw a texture in here or there, you can't go wrong with either of them. Because the funny part is we're reviewing all these different FPGA N64 consoles, talking about different devices that can play N64 games. Give me a good static recomp, give me a good PC source port any day of the week, because it's just the N64 games we know, love, and remember, just in a way better form. So Harbour Masters absolutely killed it on the 1.0 release, and I can't wait to see what they bring next. But sure, that I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.